The 2017 Overwatch World Cup is now within reach.
Heroes of Overwatch, this is Patrick V and welcome to the second match of the Overwatch World Cup 2017. Before we're gonna begin, be sure to smash that subscribe and like button, guys, and leave a comment below what team you think should win. Also, I would like to take the opportunity to let you guys know I'm on Spreadshirt right now, and you can support me by buying one of my shirts or merchandise. The link will be in the description below, and right now you can get a 15% discount by using the code welcome-1001-67703. All this information will be in the description below, guys. And in the background you saw the rules being explained, and right now the second matchup is Hong Kong versus Norway, and this is the first part of that match. Here we go.
Overwatch history in the making.
Coming straight out of South Korea, had that little pond hop over here to China, so not that big of a journey for us to make it over here, but still very excited to be joining in on the Overwatch World Cup, and we do have a bit of a doozy to start things off with for you and I here today.
Exactly, 16 versus 17, so this is going to be a hyper-competitive match. I know our last match came in with a pretty solid 4-0 for China. They were one of the big favorites going into that group. Most people expected them to take the first seed, so a tough match for Romania. But going to this section of the group, it's 16 versus 17. They're so close in terms of seeding, so this one could go really close, couldn't it being a 2-2 split.
Yeah, obviously all four maps going to be played regardless, but this could very well just be a very back and forth one, even on the likes of the maps that, you know, a control map, just back and forth, constantly exchanging. Maybe we'll see that third control map coming through. Had a bit of a false start on that one here today, but either way, it should be neck and neck between these two teams. But like they said on the desk, everybody has really been giving a lot of credit over to Norway, a lot of fear going up against them. But let's go ahead and check out our first map of this set. It's going to be King's Row starting things off. Yeah,
a pretty common map, a very standard map. We did start, of course, things off on Hollywood in our previous series, but King's Row, so already starting things off a little bit different. Coming from Korea, where you and I commentate Apex, this map is one of the highest picked hybrid maps. We see it a ton. It's a very common map to see in the pro scene, and I think this map, because of how it works and how basically it complements every team really well, is going to set us on the stage to see which one of these teams has the bigger edge here. This is kind of like the flat stage, the neutral stage, to find out which one of these teams is the stronger one and kind of gauge, because talk about 16 versus 17 in SR ranking, it's always important as the coordination and the experience, I think, that makes Norway the favorites here.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned that, you know, one of the statistics we do offer up is, you know, the attacker-defender advantage per map, and King's Row is one of those ones that bounces between, you know, 51-49%, if not just the 50-50. So this should be a nice neutral setting for both of these teams to go ahead, get their footing, and try to come out, start things with a win here in Shanghai, and try to make it all the way over to BlizzCon. Every single map just holds such a high amount of importance here, so the win is going to be very sought after.
That's right, every single point does matter. This is not a best of series. This is earn as many points as you can in the 4-match set. So that is going to be how this is played out here as we jump into King's Row. And this is going to be really the first time a lot of these Hong Kong players get to play in a big tournament like this in a very large setting with quite a large crowd, in fact, here in the venue. So there's a lot to prove right now. And, you know, as was mentioned earlier, Hyper, for example, the captain of the team, now having a second opportunity at the pro scene, stepping away from his piano and putting his fingers on the keyboard as we set up for this one.
Well, let's see how quickly he can play piano, just by how quickly he can input on his keyboard. See if he really is a maestro as far as that is concerned. But here we go, the attack is going to start coming out here from the side of Norway, with Hong Kong already operating over onto that defense. Start them pushing in, poking out so far. Nothing too crazy as far as the comps are concerned. It's going to be the 2-2-2, both of these operating with the Soldier and the Tracer, so no Genji thus far.
Yep, nothing just thus far. Already a kill into INVISION. That's going to be a great start here for Hong Kong's defense.
Yeah, Mango up here on this high ground, just finding that biotic grenade straight in onto INVISION, so shuts him down, stops, you know, very crucially, that pulse bomb building up, and as I say that, IPN's going to find a kill over onto Hyper, so both of these Tracers will be stopped out. Hyper building up a bit more of that pulse bomb for himself, but now here we go, onto the meat of the point. Comes Norway diving in. ONIGOD having to throw down that biotic field, trying to keep himself alive, and DECOD goes for it, finds JAZZY, pops him out of the back, and the Helix Rockets will go ahead and finish him off. A bit of a changing back here coming through as IPN does fall, but Norway very broadly winning out on these fights and maintaining the hold on the point. The cap might just come through right here, and it looks like that's just going to be it, so HongKong will concede, and Norway pick up point A very quickly.
And if you watch that fight, you might think, okay, well, ONIGOD is just the god. He's so strong, he's so powerful, his accuracy is so good, but it's the protection granted by Ico that actually allows this to happen. His defense matrix really good there, and DECOD, of course, tried to disrupt the backlines of HongKong, so he was able to do so much free damage to carry that fight.
Very nice stuff here from Norway. We'll see how they're going to handle the street space as they get ready to push through. HongKong still playing a bit further forward, looking for those flanking opportunities with the like of Hyper and the Soldier 76 here. But now DECOD going very far forward, trying to build up for that primal rage, just zapping away. No real kill threat coming through from him yet. And now he's got to be a bit careful as that nano boost does come down here onto PANDAREN, but he takes so much damage, has to leap back around the corner to keep himself alive. In the meantime, Norway going to be pushing back forward. Have that Transcendence coming through from IPN. They will find PANDAREN in the end as the cart just keeps moving along steadily, slowly, but steady for the side of Norway as they keep advancing over to point B. Pop out's going to come through on to JAZZY. Does throw down the self-destruct, not going to find anything, and he's going to die for that. So HongKong really just kind of getting swept under the rug by Norway right now. Yeah. Not really being impeded at all on this push.
Not even close. The staggered respawn's going to be a problem here. And it looked like the idea for HongKong for that defense was to have Hyper drop down with the pulse bomb from the high ground there. Tried to build up, didn't have it in time. The Transcendent was so well played.
IPN perfectly just knew that Hyper was coming around that flank, maybe even looking for the pulse bomb there. Takes him down. That's point B gained here for Norway. Just under 6 minutes on the clock to make their way to the Foundry stage here. So plenty of time to work with. Nice little opening there does come through as the Helix Rockets connect onto ONIGOD. So that will help them a little bit, but that's about the slightest reprieve that HongKong has gotten so far.
We're looking to see if Hyper can finally find a pulse bomb stick here. One does fail against him, but he's going to look to find this in the back. This has kind of been the idea for Hyper, to try to find that backline pick. Not a whole lot of harassment.
You can see he's just not really in a great position to get those flanking opportunities. He has to keep kiting back, and now the self-destruct does find Mango. Get the pop-up onto JAZZY, and yet again he is going to fall. The tanky front line here from HongKong just being shattered. Discord Orb in onto PANDAREN, has to stay back, has to drop the bubble. Can't leap in now comfortably. IPN does get forced out on the Transcendence as the pulse bomb comes through from Hyper, but the payload just meters in front of this point C, and with that primal rage, DECOD goes forward, finishes off Mango. PANDAREN has fallen off the map. MOOWE desperately trying to find something with that nano visor. Will get the pop out, will finish off IPN, but he is still losing team members around him. Hyper going down as ONIGOD answers with his own, firing away shot after shot. Rolling into the station, just 1.47 meters now is that payload for Norway. Nearly have that completion. Just need to get rid of these few members, and with that pulse bomb helping take down the Winston, they might just have it. Mix desperately trying to keep this one in contention, and they will be able to do so for now. So it seems like HongKong might just be able to hold on for a little bit longer, but there's still over 4 minutes on the clock here for Norway.
Yeah, still trying to hold on to this one. It's actually crazy. Ico is able to remech throughout this. Here comes the self-destruct down. INVISION will dodge it. And you can see INVISION, gets taken out. Mango gets the kill there. This actually may help them grab the hold here as JAZZY remains on the point.
But it's just an all-out brawl because Norway just keeps throwing their bodies back in onto the payload, trying to keep this one pushing in. Now the rejoin coming through from DECOD, jumping forward. They find PANDAREN to start off the fight. Just need JAZZY, and that's going to be the entire tank line taken down. Now the Genji, having fallen self-destruct, though not going to find any picks, but does help zone people back. They'll get the re-entry in onto the back, but now the sound barrier is in here for Norway. They are all in on this push. They want to finish it off with a massive time bank for themselves. PANDAREN up into the air, popping the primal rage and the Transcendence coming through. So HongKong throwing out everything that they possibly have to try to stay into this one, but JAZZY will still get taken down by the pulse bomb, and ONIGOD is firing away with yet another tag visor. Finds the Genji, just chipping them away, and that will finally be it. They free up enough space to get those that last meter and a half in, and it's 3:27 on the time bank here for Norway.
And you got to give props to HongKong for how long they were able to hold that off. They, with the staggered respawn, still bought so much time there, but it was the consistent kills coming in that closed it out for Norway. But I have to give big credit to DECOD. It almost felt like he was the personal bodyguard of ONIGOD in all those fights, and I have the liberty of being able to watch his first-person view here, so I was watching how he was positioning, how he wants to protect ONIGOD, and basically he only dove in after they got a pick, sometimes on the D.Va there, allowing him to come in with more protection from his own team to go in and get those kills, and ONIGOD being the big damage dealer here. Basically what happened, no one could take him out. He just kept firing, getting multiple attack fires off. The Transcendence build-up's much faster here for Norway as well. And you do have to remember a lot of what Hyper was trying to do on that Tracer. He held onto his pulse bombs really long. He was always looking for the big money hit on the back line, on the squishies, but just couldn't find the supports, couldn't find that pulse bomb he was looking for. So felt like he was really trying to force it to happen, but just didn't find that lineup.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that's one of the tooltips in the game. Not for Tracer, but I believe for Ferris. Is, don't try to hold on for the barrage to find the big one. Just use it, build up another one very quickly. But that's one of the things that a lot of players do suffer from. They want to have that big bang hit. With the pulse bomb, try to get the 2 to 3K like we see from Effect back over in Apex for Envious when he had those really star-studded performances on the Tracer. But he holds onto it a bit too much, can't find those flanking opportunities, just has to kite back with the rest of his team, and that's not the position that you need to be in as a Tracer to excel. So Norway with a very strong first attack, 3:27 on the clock. HongKong now swapping over to the assault side. We'll see what sort of work they can get done. Norway still going to be operating with the same squad here, the 2-2-2. Ico back over onto that D.Va. Flash Lazaria for a second, but, we know better than that. It's still going to be the D.Va coming through. She's just way too important.
And let's see if Hyper is going to stick with this Widowmaker for very long. We do see the sound arrow come out first here to get the information as to where everyone is positioned.
I'm trying to spot out a little bit.
Yeah, not good. Just getting some extra vision. You're not going to be trying to do any fancy Widow plays. Not pulling a Taimo here or anything like that. Just going to come out. It's Hyper switching back to the Soldier now here on the high ground.
I mean, interestingly enough, they're going to be running the Soldier with the Genji rather than having a Tracer, which has been one of those staple parts of compositions in the current meta at the moment. So we'll be trying to change things up here from Hong Kong. We'll see how long this is going to last, if they're going to be able to get that first cap, or if they do need to swap Hyper back over. But for now, ONIGOD will get taken down. Mango finds that opening, and is that going to be enough for them to get onto the point is the question. Cap starts to come through, does get halted out as they back out. INVISION does take down that enemy Zenyatta. Hyper firing away, trying to get in onto DECOD, and with the help of the Genji, they will be able to take him down. INVISION forced out, retreats back over to the hotel, picks up that health pack, and will be rejoining the fight. 70% here for that pulse bomb. Could be a game breaker for Norway if he can find some key targets to place that one on, but for now he doesn't even need it, just dashes forward and finishes off PANDAREN.
And when you look at what Hyper's able to do compared to ONIGOD, it's just no comparison. ONIGOD's been able to do so much more, and that's part of it because DECOD has been babysitting him, forcing him back. When you see the first person views, you can see he's forced back, has to retreat. The defense matrix goes off, he comes back in. That's when you see DECOD come in, deny him with the barrier. It's just been so frustrating for Hyper all game long. He does have the tack visor now. If he can get into a high ground position, maybe he can start to get some picks here. But that's the only ult they've got. Dragon Blade about to be ready, but no support ultimate with it.
But is that going to be enough? Because right now they've still just been pretty stalemated to try to get on to this point. See them just trying to poke out, but getting the kills on the Norway range is just going to be so difficult with Mix going down there. Mango falling off screen as IPN wins out on that Zenyatta duel. No supports available now for HongKong. They're going to have to wait to regroup, and that just buys more time off the time bank. They do go forward though. However, find TROB and IPN, so these are going to be the counter openings. But Norway does fire back. Hyper going down. Jazzy popped out of the mech, and PANDAREN falling as well. They will finish off that baby D.Va for the maximum stagger.
Okay, so MOOWE still has the Dragon Blade available here. They have the support ultimate, so here comes the self-destruct. Taken out of the mech, actually, as Ico, as he dropped it down here. This is a huge opportunity, but here comes the Transcendence.
Yeah, double Transcendence coming through from both the Zenyatas as everybody tries to posture it onto the point. Sound barrier from both teams as well. So all of them just dumping out every support ultimate they could possibly find. And finally, it will be that first hit coming through for HongKong. Wait, can they stick in and get the actual cap with those picks coming through? It seems like the answer should be yes, but there's still plenty of time that can be bought by DECOD. Gonna go low, has a primal rage available. Does he want to commit it to this fight? The answer is going to be yes. Pops that one out, has the Discord orb, so we'll be taking quite a bit of damage as that second tick comes through onto the point here for HongKong, but the cap still being delayed further and further as we are encroaching on a minute remaining.
Yeah, now everyone's respawned back. INVISION very low. We'll have to recall here, but they do get everyone back. DECOD buying so much time here, and this may still be the hold. Incredible time buying by DECOD here from Norway.
Both Winston's going down. Mix is going to fall as well, but it's just going to be exchange of the supports as IPN falls. TROB falling now as well, so HongKong, do they finally have the upper hand? INVISION is looking to shut that out. Has to be forced into the recall to keep himself alive. Doesn't have any healers available for him. He's poking it, trying to finish off Mango, and he gets him, just bending the bullet seemingly around PANDAREN, takes him out, and yet again HongKong will be held at bay. Norway able to regroup. 2 ticks accrued, but just 40 seconds remaining, and HongKong have to go all the way to point C.
I can't even believe that was able to occur. What we saw from DECOD there, he bought so much time. No one got onto the point when he stepped off. It bought enough time for the rest of the team to come back. Ico buying so much time as well. Really good coordination here. And I mean, this is just so little time left now for HongKong to work with. They have the Dragon Blade. They're going to have Transcendence. Here we go. It's going to be both of them.
Yeah, popping this one out, just trying to withstand that Dragon Blade. It looks like they will be able to do so. In the meantime, ONIGOD on the high ground yet again has attack visor out, takes down Hyper. Everybody else just bending back around the statue, but there's no time left on the clock. 5 seconds. They have to pile into this one. MVISION throwing down the pulse bomb. Not going to find any kills, but they're still held at bay. Knocks JAZZY out of the mech. In hindsight, does find that, but now it's all or nothing here for HongKong to win this first map. Diving in, they lose the Genji. TROB just fall. They get rid of IBN. Could this be the opening? No supports available for the side of Norway, but they still need so much more. Eiko falling. They lose out onto Mango. Mix going down as well. Norway, can they do this? They have to get through the primal Winston PANDAREN as they just jump around. Overtime still ticking in the cap, getting ready to come through as PANDAREN desperately tries to make this happen for his team, but DECOD does get that sound barrier. He is still alive and he is still killing Genjis.
Will finally get pushed away here though. JAZZY getting up the picks here. DECOD's still alive. That's so important. He's the best one to buy time.
That's going to be the last second contest coming through. JAZZY knocked out of the mech yet again as Norway wants to finish this one off. PANDAREN going down. JAZZY killed in the Baby Diva form in the pulse bomb. Connects in onto Hyper. And it looks like Norway will have done it. The full hold coming through onto point A after pushing all the way to C. We talked about how scrappy this series could very well be, and I think that we found that it's going to be very scrappy indeed. Kings Row, so much back and forth there.
Yeah, and what we saw there was just excellent staggering there of the ultimates to actually buy time. The remeching coming out from Eiko, the really amazing primal rages. The fact that DECOD was able to stay alive so many times got him those extra primal rages, and it looked like several times there HongKong had it, but they just couldn't actually hold on. As we see Envision's Tracer here going to be the play of the game to seal things out on their attack, but what a hold there. And we had questions going into this one, which one of these very close seeds was going to be on top. And I wouldn't say this was a dominant performance by Norway by any means, but one thing you could definitely take away is when it comes to buying time on overtime, holding on to those points, certainly one of their strengths.
Yeah, I mean, this wasn't like the the level of performance that we just saw from China in our last match, but this was still Norway, inching themselves out ahead, being able to go all the way to point C, and then getting the full hold definitely does, there is credit due to them, but it was back and forth. It was very hard fought. You could tell that it was a bit strained to be able to not only complete that point C push, but also to get that full hold. So these guys, despite that scoreline, still are looking rather close together as far as this matchup goes. And so this could be a very interesting and a very long series.
And it goes when you think about how the next set is going to play out as we go into control. It's going to be very important, I feel like, for the first cap to go over to HongKong, because if you give the ultimate advantage over to Norway, if they get that first capture, with how well they've been able to hold on to these points, sometimes even without ultimates, you can imagine if they get the first cap, build that close to 99, get the 6 ultimate advantage from that, get the ult economy advantage. It's going to be very difficult for HongKong to retake, because we saw some good plays by them, some setups to try to stop the push on attack on Kings Row, but they just couldn't simply even grab the payload there. So yeah. Norway having some really good defensive tactics there, especially DECOD and Eiko. So I feel like when you go to control, the big thing to look for is HongKong. How are they going to grab that first point? Because that's going to be so important.
Yeah, and obviously going to be a whole other animal. The compositions can change up wildly when it comes down to control as opposed to the hybrids. So maybe we'll see something a bit new coming out. They were trying to do the Genji with the soldier to start things off there. I think the Tracer is just a must-have right now in the current in the current meta.
Sure.
So I expect to see that from the get-go. But first off, we do have to find out what our second map is going to be. So let's go ahead and take a look and see what HongKong
where are we going?
selected. It's going to be Lijiang Tower.
All right, so sticking with the China favorite here in Lijiang. So this map obviously is a control map, to explain for some of the newer viewers, you grab control of the point, but once you lock it in, percentage starts ticking up, and that goes up to 100. To secure the map, you get 100%. I know this sounds like obvious to anyone who's watched Overwatch Pro play, but what's important about this is that because when you have control of the point, in order to retake it, you have to have full control. It cannot be contested. And as we saw, that's how overtime works. That same mechanic we saw on Kings Row, how Norway was able to buy time there, build the extra ultimates. It's even easier on a map where you have shorter respawns, and that's the whole point of the map here on control. So that gives me some worries for HongKong going into this one. I think grabbing that first point is going to be step number one, and that, again, sounds obvious, but if they lose that, I think things could snowball away from them, Achilleos.
Yeah, defender's advantage, certainly something that HongKong would like to have for themselves. Unfortunately, didn't work out so well on Kings Row, but we'll see how they manage now that we move over to Lijiang Tower. So want to put a point on the board. Again, not a best of series, 4 maps played no matter what, but every single one of them accruing a point, and you want the most so you can move out of that group stage into the playoffs and have the best possible chance of making it to BlizzCon, because that is the end game for everybody here today.
Yeah, absolutely. So as we head to this one, we'll take a closer look at the compositions here to see what these two teams are running, as INVISION on the Tracer definitely making a bigger impact than Hyper, and playing the Soldier definitely was, you know, you could see the idea in theory, but just doesn't allow the same sort of mobility, and that ended up being a problem. So as we go into this one, we'll see what they're running. Mango actually on the Sombra here, so he got a few picks onto INVISION himself there on the support. Now he's playing more of the Hyper DPS here. We'll see if he can make that happen yet again.
Okay, well that just puts that much more emphasis on Mix. Has to have his positioning very well for that Lucio, but Mango is already going to get taken down. The fight coming through from INVISION around the side over onto that walkway does finish him off. So first point now going to be unlocked. HongKong do have the fast track. They're already onto it at the moment, but Norway, they're going to be looking to change that one around as they dive in onto that high ground, just trying to disrupt everybody. And now that HongKong is contained outside, that will just allow for the remaining members of Norway to kind of have those leaps to get onto the high ground to go ahead and finish off that cap. So we'll start ticking up.
Yeah, and this is that first cap I'm talking about. Hyper will just get killed here as they look for the resets, but Norway now has that ult advantage. They have that ticking control meter, and HongKong's would have to retake this, a very difficult ask, but they do have the tool of the EMP. Builds very quickly, and Mango is going to have that soon. Wants to make sure he doesn't get picked off again. Would be ready for sure if he had not been killed by INVISION earlier.
Oh, that's going to be the Tracer going down. IPN yet again finding another kill with the Zenyatta. Has been deadly accurate with his orbs, tossing those ones out. Mango has that EMP ready to go, but does he want to dive in? Doesn't actually get the opportunity, just gets taken down as INVISION finds a double kill. Pulse bomb in onto Mix, finishing him off. We'll go ahead, get the 3K as PANDAREN goes down as well, and Norway shoving them all the way back to that initial choke point by this spawn, and they'll just be holding firm.
And this is okay that the EMP didn't go off, because now they're going to have a few more ults to use with it, notably that tac visor, but it's going to be all about IPN's transcendence. He can get it off before the EMP goes down. That is going to be huge. Here comes Mango around from the back. Will they react to this? IPN
Transcendence comes through perfectly timed by IPN. Picks it up, and Mango's going to be the first one to fall as the fight breaks out. ONIGOD with his own tac visor firing away, but Jazzy does have the defense matrix, but not well enough in front of Hyper to keep him alive. Will go down, and Norway is just going to scoop up everybody and throw them into the bin. Fantastic shutdown, fantastic reaction.
And that's what you got to do as IPN here. You have to react. You have to see that Sombra running at you with the translocator. You have to have that ability to know this is when the EMP is coming and drop that out first to completely nullify the effects there with your extra healing. Very well timed. And they didn't use much else. TROB still has the sound barrier. INVISION and Ico have their ultimates ready here.
Yeah, they nearly have a self-destruct on the way as well here for Ico. So things looking really good for Norway as they tick up past 90% of the moment. HongKong likely going to have to dump everything in just to get this cap. INVISION not going to be finding the stick there with that pulse bomb, so won't find any entry frags for his squad yet. But now the sound barrier is coming down as they try to go ahead and keep this one contested. Nearly the cap there for HongKong. Will now be over into overtime as Norway tries to maintain control. A self-destruct thrown out here by Jazzy, just trying to buy a bit of zone for his squad, but actually comes up with a lot more than that. Finds the kill in onto TROB, but they get answered back for as Mango and Hyper both go down. INVISION yet again operating on these flank lines. Nearly has another pulse bomb to offer up, perhaps to take down PANDAREN, because he doesn't have
there's the recap
primal range, and the recap does come through. Now they have to tag in onto this one. We'll see if PANDAREN can find his way in, but
can't get in there.
Just not going to happen.
All right, so this is already dominance starting to show. We knew what was likely to occur on control after we saw the defense of Norway there on King's Row. They got the full hold, and when they took the first point here, sure, there was a brief moment of capture on the side of HongKong here, but they couldn't close it out, and the ultimate usage there, very well timed. I feel like the big play, the play of the game for that one was definitely IPN, dropping the Transcendence down, nullifying the real only EMP we ever saw, and I worry now for HongKong as they're flexing a lot here. They're sending their Genji player onto the Tracer, their Tracer player onto the Soldier, so not having real complete roles here, whereas Norway is basically keeping it more of the same from map to map.
Well, you saw there in the audience, ONIGOD having a fan here in Shanghai. That's a nice way to go ahead, start things off with a win for the fans.
That's right, this is the World Cup, and every nation has fans worldwide as we head into this one. Going to be no Sombra this time on Mango, going to be back onto the Soldier.
Yeah, but it's going to be that Genji Soldier here that they're trying to operate on yet again. And Mix is going to be the first one that loses out as that mech does go away from him, builds up very rapidly for another one that hasn't gotten taken out of that Baby Diva form yet. Ico going to get popped out as well as we wait for the point to unlock. So very scrappy, everybody's charging in for each other's bridges.
Now MOOWE actually finding a lot of percentage here. No one harassing him, so he's just building up towards that Dragon Blade. We'll have the double support ultimates to pair with that very soon.
The initial cap nearly coming through as INVISION already has the pulse pump, throws it out, finds PANDAREN, takes him down, and it's going to be Mango falling as well. Mix going to go down, and it seems like Norway will yet again be getting this first cap coming through. We'll see how long they can hold on to it this time. It was only one flip for HongKong.
And it wasn't a crazy disparity of ult economy here. There are going to be several ults, including that sound barrier for MOOWE to try to use the Dragon Blade here. Hyper, unfortunately, halfway towards his Primal Rage as he's flexing again. Now onto the Winston, it's PANDAREN onto the Lucio. And this can sometimes be a double sword. You can show the flexibility of this composition, the 6-man roster, but maybe too many heroes for too many players.
All right, well, it's going to be a very aggressive play coming through as Norway just pushes through the Transcendence out from IPN as they try to shove them all the way back, just keeping them contained in the side rooms. And ONIGOD has that attack visor firing away, just straight out. No one there to block it, but will get cut down in the end. As Genji has the Dragon Blade ready to go, so just chops him up.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a big flip here for HongKong, perhaps. Haven't gotten the point yet, as DECOD will fall in the end. They will get this one, and considerably earlier than on Control Center, 41%, all that was accrued here for Norway before that flip comes through. So maybe a bit too aggressive from Norway on that play.
ONIGOD definitely, using that attack visor, they're expecting the Transcendence would be enough, but this is a huge flip because they only had to use really the Dragon Blade and the support ultimates to make it happen. Hyper soon to have that Primal Rage, so they can hold on to this one for a while, almost nearly having an edge in ult economy here, so Norway using a lot of resources. But look at how quickly IPN's been able to build up that Transcendence, and they're going to use the sound barrier to try to contest now, moving in.
Yeah, go ahead, throw that one out, but ONIGOD's been booped off the map by PANDAREN, so just comes up with that kill, so fantastic way to start things off here for HongKong as they try to maintain this control over the point, but JAZZY is just going to get cleaned up in Norway yet again. Will still just, despite being first blooded by HongKong on that push, will still be able to get in here and possibly come up with this retake. And
it was really off the back of the sound barrier. It was really well timed here. They used it with the amp it up for the speed boost, so a really hyper aggressive attack coming in, catching HongKong off guard, and now they have self-destruct. They're going to use it aggressively here over the wall.
It's throwing it straight in towards the spawn. Not going to find anybody, but it certainly does buy them a little bit more time, keeping them away from
aggressive, though.
The bridge. But yeah, just throwing that one, Ico. You never know. Maybe you get the 5K. Maybe you just go ahead and get a team kill on it. So
sure, that was pretty aggressive, but they do hold on to the Transcendence here now. So using the support ultimates as their main ones to win these fights.
But they have to get back in. They have to get this retake. Pulse Pump does come through, connects in onto Hyper, and he's going to be taken down first and foremost here on the point. Didn't have that Primal Rage available, nowhere near it, in fact. And out Norway still looking to hold firmly as that Transcendence comes out from the side of IPN, just keeping everybody topped off. DECOD with that Primal Rage, keeping himself alive as well. And now attack visor out from Mango, but he's falling dangerously low, and everybody just pours back in into the room with him to go ahead and finish him off. He goes down, and now seems like it's just going to be yet another regroup coming through here from HongKong, but the staggers are going to be there on the respawns. It's 95% for Norway. They have to get in onto the point.
Yeah, they do. Okay, HongKong coming in now. Gonna have to contest this.
But already Mix has been popped out, and attack visor here, just go ahead and take out anybody that pushes forward. There's no D.Va defense matrix to eat up this soldier damage, so ONIGOD just going to be firing away, coming up with multiple kills, finishes off the Genji right at the end.
Sound barrier
there you go. Norway will just clean house, and they will go ahead and take Lijiang Tower with a 2-0.
Yeah, pretty dominant performance here by Norway, and we knew Control was going to be the struggle for HongKong after watching that last fight. Well, watch this Genji play of the game. This is the first take here after the first map. So they did cap these support ultimates. Actually, not even having them in this fight. This would have been a different one. But anyways, gets them there on the choke point. Ends up winning that one. But wasn't enough to win the map here for for HongKong.
Yeah.
And realistically, when you look at how those fights are going, it's the sound barrier that's used aggressively, and it's the Transcendence that's used defensively. The support ultimates winning, at least Lijiang here for Norway. They use their time-buying abilities with the Primal Rage, with the tanks, the protection of ONIGOD on King's Row, but a totally different approach going into the control map. And the support ultimates were there to catch the attacks every time. It was a very defensive approach. It was kind of a hold on, let's be conservative with our ults, and HongKong just didn't have the answer. I
mean, one of the most intriguing things I think about HongKong here is that they're swapping up the roles. They have players moving off of the Lucio over onto the D.Va, vice versa. So it seems like they're just kind of desperately trying to scramble around their members. Okay, you go DPS this time, I'll heal, or vice versa. And it just did not work out. The 2-0 there for Norway. Really good stuff coming through there. But Norway leading here with a 2-0. See if they can close this out with a 4-0. As we go ahead, throw over to a commercial. When we come back, we'll have the desk go ahead and break down those first two maps.